Hello guys, so I'm just gonna make a quick video here. Yeah, I've actually been putting my artwork up on the wall. So I'm gonna turn that around for you. There's some pieces. Up a little bit. And as you can see, I've pretty much almost filled the wall. I still got loads more impacts over here, but no one wants me to go from there because, yeah, it's useless. So, I started doing that recently. Been trying to be a bit more productive with my days and actually getting things done. I've started doing some revising and that, I guess. I don't know. Everything in life is just a perspective, isn't it? And your perspective is altered by your mood, I guess. Especially in a good mood. Sorry, I'm playing blue tack. If you're in a good mood, I don't even apologize. If you're in a good mood, then I guess you won't feel the need to justify why you're doing certain things, because you're not going to be talking negatively to yourself, so you don't have to go around explaining yourself of why you did this, why you did that. Maybe you do, but not in such a neurotic way. Whereas when you're in a bad mood, you might feel the need to justify it. You'll feel like everyone wants to know why you did a certain thing because you did it the wrong way to them when you didn't. But because your perspective has been altered in a way by your emotions, that's the way you start to behave and act. And maybe that's why we favour good moods over bad moods, because we don't feel that way. Our perspective completely shifts. And maybe this works in vice versa as well, where your perspective can actually alter your emotions. So let's say you're in a bad mood, and no matter what, it could be completely out of your control. But by altering your perspective on the bad mood and not projecting any sort of negative emotions or actions onto other people based on your own experience, you're shifting, you're sort of taking control of your emotions, aren't you? You're owning them rather than putting blame on things and taking things out on other people. You're choosing to perceive the bad mood in perhaps a less negative way or a more positive way, by reassuring yourself and not giving into the self-hatred thing that a bad mood can spiral you down into. Trying to think of an example for this. So let's say you're with someone, you're with a person enjoying not such a great mood. You can either sit in that mood and say, oh, it's okay, it's not going to get any better, I can't be bothered, I'm not doing this, not doing that, and start being a dickhead. Or you can say, okay, I'm in this mood, but how can I make myself feel better to get out of it? Could I perhaps eat a bit healthier? Could I perhaps drop some bad habits? Could I perhaps stop indulging in so much mindless entertainment? Or could I perhaps learn to love myself a bit more? Because when you're in a bad mood, maybe there is a message behind that. Maybe it's saying that you're lacking in some of your basic human needs. And if you look at it that way, then you know that there's something to be fixed and you're able to then fix that, rather than just putting the blame on everything else, on all these inanimate objects. Oh, my phone broke, so I'm in a bad mood and I'm going to stay this way. Instead of that, you say, well, perhaps my phone broke for a reason, perhaps I was spending too much time on my phone, and this is my lesson. I've got to learn to sit without it, sit without the world at my fingertips in a way. And maybe that's something the universe is trying to teach you. See, I think there's a positive side to everything in life, no matter what it is that's happening. Maybe like even all like the natural disasters and all the different things that happen, and maybe that like these things that happen are not objectively bad in themselves. They're not intrinsically bad, as I said. They just happen. It's just things that happen. Completely neutral. The universe doesn't have emotions. Oh shit! Drop my blue tag. The universe doesn't have emotional attachments to these events. The universe doesn't cause things to happen just to affect us. We just choose to let things affect us, and we're just the ones experiencing things. Like sometimes we like to place the blame. Like quite a big example of this is God. We say like religious people have done this for like thousands and thousands of years. They've put all the bad things that happen in the world, all the good things that happen in the world, are either God punishing us or God praising us. There's a reason behind it. Someone put it there. But I feel like God's really just a reflection of ourselves. Is that not right? Because when something happens on a human level, like something that we've caused, we assume there must be a cause to that thing. And perhaps we believe in karma. When we do something comes back, and then there's cause and effect. If I push someone off a cliff, which hypothetically I'm not going to do this, but let's say I push someone off a cliff, that person's going to fall, and my action of pushing led to the causation of, my action was the causation, which was the push. The push was the causation, the push was the cause, and then the falling was the effect. And perhaps the universe and natural things don't occur in that same sort of manner. Maybe it's just we perceive it that way. We say something must have caused this for this to happen, which perhaps it did, but not in an emotional level, not in the way that we like to perceive it. I don't quite know where I'm going with this, but I think, what I was saying about God, wasn't I? God being a reflection of ourselves. So supposedly thousands of years ago, the disciples, someone spoke to God, but we're all humans. They were humans in the same way that we are humans today. So why were them people any more special or entitled to God's messages than we are? Pardon me, you get some crazy people who seem to think that God is the reason for everything and that they can talk to God and things like that, but they're not really talking to God. I think it's just an aspect of human consciousness, a representation of who we really are. We like there to be patterns, we like there to be a cause, we like for there to be deeper meanings to things. And I guess our way of solving that back in the age of Jesus was to create this big father figure in the world who's watching over us and protecting us. And I guess maybe we found comfort in that, and maybe we found, I don't know, we must have found something pleasurable in that at the time. Like, it does sound like a crazy idea, but it's such a widespread one that it's very plausible to most people. Like, most people still believe in God and the Bible, and a lot of them take it literally. I think the Bible was just poems and stories and a reflection of human nature through evolution. Humans are very strange creatures. We're just animals, but we have brains, and that's a great thing, but it also can be a bad thing, I guess. Everything's got positive and negative sides to it. Like, some people use their brains for things which may cause pain and suffering to others, and I don't think that's right. Maybe not intrinsically wrong, maybe it is intrinsically wrong, but I think, again, that's just something we attach to it. By saying something is right or wrong, it's really perhaps just a set of norms and values that we've adopted over thousands of years, and now we're here debating whether it's innate and built into us, which technically it could be, but then you've got to look at feral children. Feral children, that perhaps they can be aggressive because generally they're raised by animals and they're going to act in the same sort of way that animals act because that's who they've been socialised by. But what would happen if, I don't think this would work, but let's say you took a human being from birth, took it away from its mother, somehow made it grow up by itself without any social influence, what would it become? But that's so cruel because it's part of human nature to be a social creature, to be a creature which works with other creatures, and we need them sort of connections, don't we? I wonder what would happen. I mean, obviously we're probably never going to find out because that's highly unethical, but it's quite an interesting thing to think about, isn't it? What would this human become? Because we'd have to find ways of teaching it, but then by finding ways of teaching it, we're then influencing it in some sort of way. It's like, I guess it brings you back to this question, like, what does it mean to be human? Like, what distinguishes humans from any other creature? And what sort of characteristics does a person have to be classed as a person, or as a human being? And I guess there is some answers to this, but I don't know. I guess it's all about philosophising, isn't it? Maybe there is no definitive answers. Maybe there's no definitive answers to anything which happens in this universe, but I guess we can philosophise and think about things and maybe try and figure it out. Or maybe not even try and figure it out, just learn acceptance for the way things are. But if we're just learning acceptance and we're not going to be progressing any further in life, but maybe we don't need to be progressing further in life. Maybe by just learning to live in the moment, that's the furthest progression we can possibly ever get. Because being in the now is very underrated. Like, you can't be in the present moment and be unhappy. Like, everything that you do is in the present moment. If you're thinking about the past, you're not living in the past, you're getting a present moment interpretation of something which has happened previously in another present moment. You can't go back to the past to experience it again. You can just get your perspective right now based on how you're feeling and how your perspective is balanced out. And even if you're projecting into the future and planning ahead, you're doing that in the now. So no matter what you do, you're always in this present moment. You can never escape it. No matter how hard you try, you will always be in the present moment. Because when you, let's say someone built a time machine and they travel to the future or they travel to the past, when you reach the future, that won't be the future anymore because that will be the now. That will be the now. Maybe you would have a bit more knowledge that there are perhaps other dimensions out there that people are living in. Like your previous generation of people are still alive at another point in time, but you're at this point in time, and both points are now. There is only the now. I think the past and the future are illusory concepts. I think the past has happened and is happening, and we're creating, and we're living in the future of the past. But we're living in the present, because we can't be living in the future. Which is why when we talk about the future, it's sort of like, it's a bit silly because we never reach the future. But time keeps moving, and I guess we have to make the best of every experience in the now, so that when we reach now in the future, which is sort of weird to say, but when we get to, let's say we're projecting 5 years from now, we're going to reach that 5 years from now, and if we haven't fully utilised the present moments of up until that 5 years, we're still going to be in the same position in life. We're constantly moving through time, and constantly flowing the time, but we want to progress anywhere. Now, I don't know if progression is the right word, but obviously we want to better ourselves in life, don't we? We don't want to be stuck in the same rut. We don't want to be constantly doing the same things. We want to get things. I know that's a very Western ideology, but I guess this is the way Western society is. I mean, I don't expect myself to be sat here in this bedroom 5 years from now. Maybe I'd like to have a bit more money so I can go travelling. Maybe I'll be going to uni in a few years. I don't know. But whatever I do, I just want to know that I'm going to enjoy it. That's what I want to be assured of. And maybe I'm not going to enjoy every moment, but I want to be able to get the best out of every experience that I go through. Because I think that's important, no matter what happens in your life, if you can choose to perceive it in a positive way, then I think that's the best you can possibly do, isn't it? Because we all go through shit. Going through hard times is inevitable. Going through good times is inevitable. Everything's going to happen. You're going to go through every single emotion, and maybe not every single experience, because that's pretty impossible. I don't think we're going to quite experience the death of this universe, the death of the sun, or the explosion of Jupiter. I don't think we're going to experience those sorts of things, but like just trivial experiences on human Earth, on planet Earth, which generally humans experience. We're going to go through those sorts of things. Like maybe the death of a loved one, or the death of a pet, or graduating from university, or getting your dream job, going travelling, all these sorts of experiences which are generally quite typical to most human beings. Maybe not most, but some. And yeah, I feel like if you can just choose to perceive them in a positive manner and really learn to love what you're going through, no matter what it is, then you're on the right track in life. And yeah, anyway, I think I'm going to end off that video there. It's been a bit of a longer one, but I have enjoyed talking, if you haven't guessed. Got a lot of thoughts in this head that I need to get out, and maybe not need to get out, but I don't know, I'm just in a really philosophising mood, so I thought I'd do some of that. And yeah, if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment any of your opinions on the subjects that I brought up. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Peace out.